Welcome to Evo India and welcome to one of the most important launches of the year. This is the Toyota Innova Hycross and it's an all-new car. You've got new styling, new engines, a completely new platform, new interiors, everything is new. Welcome to our walk around video where we'll be taking you through everything that's new, the styling. We'll be sitting on the inside, getting into the details of things and obviously telling you when you can expect this in showrooms. Before we go ahead, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Evo India channel and leave a comment down below. What do you think of the Innova Hycross's styling? Talking about the styling, from the face of it, it does have a resemblance to the older Innova, but there are a few critical changes. This is styled more like an SUV. The bonnet is more upright. The elements are more aggressive. It is more macho in a sense. The grille, it retains that traditional hexagonal grille, but it's larger, wider, bigger, all of that. The headlights, they're sleeker. Narrow headlights over here, and below that you've got an indicator element which also doubles up as the DRLs. You've got a chunky bumper at the bottom, and what the Innova Hycross retains is that tall ground clearance of the older Innova. When you come around to the side, you've got large 18-inch wheels. They've got this chromed finish on the outside and they look pretty cool. You've got plastic cladding on the wheel arches, typical for SUVs nowadays. And when you look at it in profile, you will notice a few changes. This A-pillar, it's sloping further back. The glass area has changed a little bit, particularly around the D-pillar. It's a little more aggressive, more SUV-like. That does limit the glass area for the passenger on the inside, but on the outside, it does look pretty cool. There are other very distinct styling elements on the body. You've got these long feature lines along the side. You've got another one at the bottom, and all of it gives it a very defined stance. And don't miss the hybrid badge on the side. One thing worth noting is the wheelbase. The wheelbase is now longer by 100 mm at 2,850 mm. Now let's talk about the rear styling. You've got these sleek looking tail lamps. You've got, well, the Innova badging on that side. You've got the variant badging on this side. Don't miss the hybrid badge as well. Below that, you've got black cladding, again hinting at its SUV intentions, and a very cool looking spoiler over here. Now before we get to the inside, I need to talk to you about the platform. The older Innova Crysta was based on a body-on-frame platform, but this one has a monocoque platform. There are a lot of changes because of that, mainly to efficiency, weight saving, and packaging. Now, one thing you need to note is that this is the same platform as the Toyota Voxy minivan. And what that means is they've got a lot more packaging advantages in the third row. It's got a lower floor, allows you to get more comfort in the rear seat. In addition to that, it's lighter by 200 kg. So that means better performance, better efficiency, fewer carbon emissions, all of those goody things. Now, let's step inside and see what that's like. Okay, now let's talk about the front seat of the Innova Hycross. This is a really nice place to be. I feel really welcome here, and this is a car that I wouldn't mind spending time behind the wheel. It does not feel as utilitarian as the older Innova Crysta. Now first things first, you've got a new steering wheel, steering mounted controls, you've got your ADAS controls on the steering wheel itself. There are a couple of cool ADAS features. So you've got cruise control, you've got lane keep assist, you've got a blind spot monitor, and you've got automated headlights. In front of me, you've got a part analog, part digital cluster. Some of the dials in here are analog, like the power and eco dial, fuel gauge, and even the engine temperature. But you've got a completely digital speedometer with an MID in between that. Coming to the center console, I've got a 10.1-inch screen over here, very high res, looks pretty cool. Haven't gone into the details of it yet, I will in a bit. Below that, you've got your climate control buttons, you've got ventilated seats. So both the front seats are ventilated. You only get the Crysta with an automatic, so the gear selector is right here on the dashboard. You've got your drive mode buttons below that. It does get an EV mode. This is the hybrid variant, remember. And you've got drive mode, so you can shuffle between power, normal, and eco. Below that, you've got your USB sockets, USB-C, USB-A, gives you a good amount of versatility. Cup holders over here. There is no wireless charger in this car. And you've got, well, a deep storage in the armrest. Other things worth talking about, you've got soft touch materials on the dash, on the door pads. You've got memory seats, so you can electrically adjust your seat and then store them with the memory function. Panoramic sunroof above my head, and well, this is genuinely a nice place to be. I can get nice and low, a good comfortable driving position. The steering wheel, adjustable for rake and reach. Yeah, this is genuinely a comfortable place to be. Now let's talk about the second row of the Innova Hi-Cross, and this is the place to be in this MPV. Firstly, the space, it's absolutely incredible. Just look at the amount of room I have, and this is not even in its rearmost position. If I move this back, I've got more than a foot of room, knee room over here. That's just incredible. Headroom, it's a little compromised compared to the knee room because of this panoramic sunroof. It comes all the way back over here and compromises headroom a little bit. It's comfortable for me, I'm 5'10", but anyone taller than me might find it a little cramped. The seats, they're very plush, wide, comfortable seats. They hold you well, you sink into them nicely, and they're very comfortable to be in. These seats are actually interesting. You've got a lot of features when it comes to these seats. You've got these electrically controlled ottomans. You can slide this bit out, but what happens is when you slide it out fully, my feet get stuck under the driver's seat, so that's a little uncomfortable. That aside, you can actually recline the seat, again electrically, and it goes a whole lot back. I can almost recline horizontally, which is really nice. Other things that I can talk about here, you've got a separate zone for the climate control. So you've got your temperature control here, it's automated obviously, and it's a separate zone from the front. So you can be at a different temperature from the driver and co-passenger. Other stuff that's interesting to note, a completely flat floor. That gives you a lot of room to move your feet around over here, really nice, and that's one of the bigger advantages of this being a monocoque with front wheel drive. There's no transmission tunnel coming all the way back over here. Other cool bits on this Innova Crysta, you've got roof mounted AC vents, and what I really like are these. The third row AC vents, you can actually point forward and, well, they make my head quite cold. You've got these blinds over here, manually adjustable of course, soft touch materials in the door, all of that is very nicely done. You've got two USB-C type ports over here, and while everything is really nicely done, one thing that I do have to criticize is this bit here, this little cup holder storage area between the two captain seats. It feels a little flimsy. Just look at this, it moves around and doesn't feel very nice compared to the rest of the cabin. It's also worth noting that this second row can also be spec'd as a bench. So you can have 3 people sitting over here, and then that makes this car an 8-seater. Now let's head into the third row and see what that's like. Now I think the third row of the Innova Hi-Cross is one of its biggest advantages. You've got a lot of room in here and it's actually fairly comfortable. Just look at the amount of knee room I have. This is with the middle row seat in its middle setting. There's enough room there for somebody to be reasonably comfortable. I can move this even further forward and get even more knee room in the third row, but then I'd be compromising knee room in the second row, and that's not something I want to do. Headroom, it's okay. I've got about an inch of headroom, which is just about adequate. I'm comfortable. I don't know if anybody taller than me will be. The seats themselves, they are fairly comfortable, and I think that's because the floor is now lowered down. One of the advantages of this monocoque is that they can take this floor lower down to the ground, give me a lot more space for my feet. My knees are no longer in that skyward pointing position, and that makes me sitting here a lot more comfortable. I can genuinely do reasonably long distances in the third row. Another interesting point is that this third row is now a 3-seater. You have this third headrest here, so you've got 1, 2, and 3, and 3 belts at the back. So if you want to, you can fit 3 people in the back seat. It'll be a little cramped in terms of shoulder room. You're not going to have that much space, but you can, in a pinch, fit 3 people in the back. Now let's talk about boot space. This now has an electronically powered tailgate. So it rises up on its own. You've got buttons over here to shut it. In terms of space, you've actually got a decent amount of loading over here. You can fit a small bag in here. And once you get these seats folded down, you've got about 991 liters of space. Fairly significant. You can't really fold those 2 seats down right now because they're captain seats, but this is plenty for all your luggage. Now let's talk about engines. There are 2 engines on offer. One is a pure ICE engine. The second engine is a 2-liter petrol engine that's mated to a hybrid system. So you've got your battery, motor, all of that. Peak power output is 183 bhp, and that too comes mated to an eCVT system. What's significant about this motor is A, its fuel efficiency. It claims 21.1 kmpl, and that gives it a range of over 1,000 kilometers. That's its claimed range and claimed fuel efficiency. But performance is really interesting as well. It's got a sub 10 second 0 to 100 time, 9.5 seconds. That should make this Innova Hi-Cross really fast and engaging on the road. One thing worth noting is that this Hi-Cross does not get a diesel engine, but Toyota has announced that the Innova Crysta will continue with its diesel engine. It's currently not accepting bookings for the Crysta because the waiting periods are too long, but once they ease that out, they will open bookings for the Crysta diesel again. So as you can see, my fellow journalists, well, they can't seem to get enough of the Innova Hi-Cross, and I'm going to end my video here. A couple of things before I leave. Bookings for this car are now open. You can head to a Toyota dealer and put down money for the Hi-Cross. Delivery should start in the middle of January. As for the variants that it comes with, it's going to get a total of 5 variants, 2 for the ICE car, 3 for the hybrid car, and this includes the 7 and 8-seater variants. In terms of pricing, we don't know anything yet. We're completely blank, but we do estimate it will be around the 30 to 32 lakh mark. It's going to be a fair bit more expensive than the Crysta is at the moment. It is a very well-loaded car. It is seemingly a very comfortable car. The spec, it's on point. Now, all that's left to do is drive it.